In this tutorial I want to go a little bit deeper into navigation meshes and go a little bit more in depth. So I started a new map that has no navigation built. So let's start from the very beginning and just cover all the basics and then go in more into depth. So first we want to turn on the navigation edit, which is nav_edit1. Point to the floor. First let's get rid of our people. Stop the director, type in director, stop. Then let's get rid of our people, all of our survivors and infected if there is any. And B, delete all. Now all the survivors and infected gone. Now let's point to the floor and type in nav_mark walkable. And now again generate incremental. It's going to take a few seconds to sample the walkable space. Now that it's sampled everything is selected. What I want to do is I want to deselect everything. So go in the console, type in nav clear selected set. Now first things first, let's our area player start, let's mark this with a player start. So first we need to select it, nav_toggle in selected set. So now we have this selected, we want to mark it as a player start. So with that selected, type in mark player start. Now we want to select it again and we want to mark empty. Now what that does, it marks the player start area as unable to spawn any infected when the players start. So in your area, in your spawn zone, you may want to go through every single one of these and make sure that they're all marked as empty, because you don't want any infected start inside the spawn zone. Also, you want to mark anything empty that like on top of the tables, because having infected spawn on top of the table kind of gets weird. So first let me show you again. You want to select and then you want to mark empty. So this way it marks empty and no infected can spawn on top of the table. Also there's another function called no mobs, and what that does, it will not allow to spawn infected at all in that particular navigation set, in that particular zone. With empty, the initial initial time when you start your map will not spawn any infected on it, but at later points it will. But if you use no mobs, it will not spawn anything. So things like I have outside the area, the cliffs, in particular areas like this, I want to make sure that I mark them as no mobs. So I want to select it, mark empty, no mobs. So I want that for all the areas where I don't want infected to spawn or spawn at all. So another thing is ladders. We need to build our ladder navigation, and it's extremely simple. Find the ladder where it's at, come up to it, point to it, and then go in your console and type in nav_build ladder. Done. So let's say I have a couple of bushes in here, and as you can see I have no navigation built in this area, so we're going to have to create it manually. And the way you do that is nav_begin area. So once I begin the area with I can draw out a specific area where I want to draw out the navigation mesh. If I move the mouse button away from it, it draws out the area, and it draws in if I move it up. So I'm going to draw it fairly large, and then go to console and type in nav and area. So I may want to split this area up a bit so it kind of matches some of the other ones. And I also want to make sure that my navigation mesh doesn't overlap, and in this case it does, and that's bad. You want to make sure that it does not overlap the other ones. Point to your navigation mesh, it's going to draw a line. So you want to, let's say you want to divide this right in half right here. Select it, go to your console, type in nav underscore split. So now we have two, and so let me set up an obscure, which means that it hides the infected in there, and as an element of surprise, this is where it'll produce the horde running towards me. So I need to select and then I want to mark it. Mark obscured. So that's how you select and draw out meshes. Now also, when you draw out your custom meshes, you need to connect them to the rest of the meshes, because automatically they don't connect, so you have to do it manually. So first you need to select them, and you can select a multiple. You have to select the one you want to connect to, and then you select the ones that you want to connect the custom one to. So you can select multiple of these, and then when you're ready to connect them, go in your in your console, type in nav connect. Now they're connected. Another example of connecting two navigation meshes together is in this pool. So on the left hand side right here, it shows that the bottom and the top is connected. That means an infected can climb up and they climb down, and in this particular area they're not. So I want to connect these two areas together. So first select the area that you want to connect it to, and then you want to select basically you select two areas, and then you form a navigation connection between them. So I have these two selected, and I want to type in nav connect, and now you see that both ways is connected. If I want to only connect them one way, I will need to select the top. So let's say I want the infected to jump down but not climb up. So first I want to select where they're gonna come from, and then where they're gonna jump down to but not up. So I just point to the second but not selected, and I type in nav connect. And if I want to make sure that they climb up but not jump down, I select the bottom first, point to where I want them to climb, and not select the second one, and go in the console and type nav underscore connect. Also, to make this a bit faster, you can bind buttons to specific keys. So let me cover that really quick. Let's say I want to bind a few buttons to two functions that I often use: navigation toggle and select. To bind your keys to quickly select or deselect, go in the console and type in bind, and the key you want to bind it to. So in my case I want to bind it to page up, and then parentheses in the quote marks I want to type the function that I want to bind the key to. So in this case I want to navigation toggle in selected underscore set, and press enter. So now every time I press page up, it's going to select it, and page up again, it's going to deselect it. So it just makes my job a lot easier. So you may want to, the most often used keys, just bind them to a button. And that is it for this tutorial.